All right. You're all here, Revitalized
Yay.
Womanhood listeners. Hey, they know that this is kind of sometimes when we get into it, I just start rolling. But I am so excited to finally get you here. Carla and I have been like back and forth, and life just has hit us both hard. And we're just like,
Yes.
we'll get to it. We'll get to it. I
Yep.
promise. We'll get... So please introduce yourself to my audience.
Hi. Yes. So my name's Karla Olson. I'm a mom of three, and my youngest graduated high school in June, and so I will be an empty nester as of September. I'm an author, and so I wrote the book, The Almost Empty Nester, to help women sort of rediscover who they are when their children aren't around every day, like if they're off at school or work. And I really give them an amazing framework to get back in touch with their unique identity, and it really helps women define their next best chapter.
I hate these like this. That's like, hey, hey. But I don't want to sit here and hold it. Maybe I will. I when we were introduced, I it was like a holy heck yes, I want to talk to this lady because I think this is such an important conversation, but not just the empty nest. I love that you are going with the almost empty nest because
Hmm.
in life we fail to plan to fail, right?
Yes.
If you're not thinking ahead for these things, it's just like people don't want to have the conversation or, and not even maybe don't want to, but they're like, "Oh, it's not time yet. It's not
Right.
time to even think about that yet." Whereas I just had a newborn. I'm 43 years
Oh,
old. I just had a newborn.
congratulations.
Thank you. And I'm already planning it. Like Rick and I, with how we travel with our kids, we plan ahead enough so that we kind of, budget and all the things. But I'm making a list for once our kids are out of the house. I literally said it last night. We were
Wow.
watching a food show that we love, and I'm like, this is a restaurant I'm going to put on our list for after the kids leave the house,
Oh,
right?
I
Because
love that.
there are trips that I want to take with my husband that I don't want kids there for. Like,
Right.
just
Right.
these are the important moments that I can already see us having. I'm excited
Yeah.
for us to be having. And so I have a newborn, listeners, okay? And I'm already preparing for these things. So, what inspired you to focus on this almost emptiness period?
Yeah. Well, it was 2019 and my oldest daughter had just graduated high school. And just like you said, I thought, oh, I don't have to think about it. I've still got 6 years, before my middle daughter, before my youngest daughter graduates. But fast forward to 2022, when my middle daughter was graduating, 3 years went by just like that. And I still didn't know how to answer that question. What do I want for myself in my empty nest? And I knew the next 3 years with Katie, they're all about 3 grade years apart.
Mm.
I knew it was going to fly by, and here I am. And so I woke up one morning at about 3 in the morning, wrote down the entire outline of my book. It's like it just came out of me, and it was very guided process. And I thought, the research was astounding. At first, this was just a project for me to help myself go through empty nesting and be prepared for it. But research shows that 22 million empty nesters are in the US, here in the US alone, and only 7% prepare for it. So 63% report feeling lost and lonely, and that jumps up to 75 if you have health or financial issues. That's millions of people that are, reporting some level of like depression. And really, it came down to one thing. It was those people that didn't deflect or delay, kind of like when you have to pack for the airport, you kind of wait for the last second. With
Yeah.
empty nesting, the happiest empty nesters are the ones that faced it a little bit early and started preparing for it. Hands down, that's what all the research showed.
I would have never in a million years thought to prepare for it. Do you know what I
Right.
mean? Like
Yeah.
back when I had my first two, I would have never thought this is something that you have to prepare for because
Right.
honestly, I watched I mean, and like we do in life is what are we exampled? And I never
Yeah.
saw my mom prepare for anything or my dad prepare for anything. They were just living, right?
Yes.
Next kid, next kid, next kid, right? And I truly, as you're talking about that there's statistics and that there's numbers on this, I'm trying to think. I've never seen anybody prepare for this. I've never
Yep.
heard anyone talk about this other than now, finally, I'm starting to hear conversations about this.
Yeah.
And I think that's incredible. And that's why, of course, I just wanted you to get on here. So in your
Yeah.
research of these numbers, these millions,
Mhm.
that you were looking into while you were writing this book, how many of them, what stories like really affected you? that you were like, this is so important. Your eyes were just open to that there is this huge group, right, of people that have been missing out on the help that they really needed for this.
Yes. There's some online communities. I was surprised at how many members they had. I mean, at any
Good.
given time, you can have 500,000 women online talking about how they feel lost and lonely in their empty nest life. And I thought about my own career. Like I had a 10-year career selling software. I'm 55. I could go start an entirely new career and have just as long as a career ahead of me as I had behind me. But I think what really gets the moms, especially, and that's why there's a lot of great empty nesting books. But when I started my research, I wanted something for the moms specifically because all the other empty nesting books are great, but they're like how to get along with your partner or how to get along with
Yeah,
your adult children. Those are all really important subjects,
really
but there was
important.
nothing, yeah, but there was nothing for the mom to really go inward and reflect on everything she's created over the last 2 decades. Like, for example, we open up the book with writing a letter. You have to go find your first picture of yourself as a mom holding your baby, either like right when they were born or your first Mother's Day picture. That's the one that I chose. And you write a letter back to that young mom, thanking her for everything she did, giving her advice for things that are coming up that she handled with grit and grace. Forgiving her for not being perfect because there's no such thing as a perfect mom. And I love that because I think so many empty nesting concepts out there are like, okay, your kids just graduated high school, let's start empty nesting. And I'm like, I think it's so important to take a pause and look back before we create anything in our future because we need to honor all those magical mini moments that we created for our families over the last 2 decades. I
Yeah.
mean, we're just different people from when we first became mothers. And I think it's important to really create a highlight reel of our mom moments,
Yeah.
get a highlight reel from our children, because I think it's important to look back before you plan your future.
Well, and where I am right now with my specific season is, and a couple years before this actually was losing my identity in motherhood,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah. Yeah.
that's exactly what you're talking about is we've it's almost as if I'm not going to say we've slept through
Hmm.
these years, right? But
Hmm.
kind of we're in survival mode. A lot of us,
Hmm.
for a certain amount of time, we are, my poor mother, 100%, 8 kids, all 2 years
Yeah.
apart. My
Wow.
dad was a 9 to 5 and then church. So she was getting 8 kids ready for church by herself. She was doing all of these things by herself, growing gardens, making bread, doing all the things. I
Yeah.
remember piles and piles and piles of bags of clothes, like going to the DI or us rifling through for the next size or whatever. And I just
Yeah.
think that's survival mode. That's not
Yeah.
even thriving in motherhood. So I kind
Right.
of think of it as like an almost living sleep.
Hmm.
And that's why I'm so appreciative for women like you and communities like mine that are saying pause, stop,
Yeah.
breathe. And what you're saying with that first love letter, honestly, to yourself, but
Yes.
letter to
Yeah.
yourself as a mom, it actually, you jumped me. And I was about to ask you this question about when we lose our identity, what's the first step you recommend into facing that transition? And you said it beautifully with that letter. That's perfect.
Mhm.
And with me and you, because you put the almost in there, it's
Yeah.
wait a minute. Let's slow it all down to the point where we are appreciating because these moments are gone. When they're gone, they are
Now.
gone. This
Time.
time we have is not. And I'm actually starting to see a ton more about this, which I truly love. Like in our social media feeds, right? There's this
Yeah.
whole new, like, I don't even know, genre
Mhm.
of, yeah, like a movement of slowing it down, taking it
Yeah.
easy, and dads becoming more involved in that as
Yes.
well. We're seeing a lot
Yeah.
more dads doing the same things, which
For
dads
sure.
didn't have the opportunity to do this. I mean, it was you
Right.
go to work. That's it.
Right.
You go to
Yep.
work. You've got your wife at home with the kids, and that's incredible. So you talk about clarity, courage, confidence, and connection as pillars in this season of
Mhm.
life. Can you walk us through why each of those is so important for navigating the empty nest years as well?
Yeah, I think Mel Robbins talks about this in her latest book, Let Them, and it's adult friendships take a little bit more time to make. And
Yeah.
so it's really all about connection and staying connected to people when your kids leave the nest is crucial. So community and connection are at the top of my list of priorities. Also connecting with yourself, but you need to have those friends or a job or a hobby or volunteering or something to keep you connected with other people that have the same interests as you. And so the center of my book is called the 10 C's, and it's a play on the Empty Nester Club. But I ask my readers these 10 questions that start with the letter C, like, what are you convicted about? What are you compassionate about? What could you converse about all day long and you never get bored of talking about it? For me, for the last few years, it was always about empty nesting. I had a friend or two that was always becoming an empty nester. I would watch her. Some of them were thriving, some of them were taking a new job and they were excited. Others were just like, God, I get up at 9:30 and I get my coffee and I wander around TJ Maxx. I don't know what to do. And so
Right.
I think when we take a minute to create that community, it's really all about proximity. So trying to find people that you're near, because we used to make all of our friends through, maybe our kids' dance class or football
Yeah.
or cross, right? And it's
Yep.
just different now. So I really encourage people to go on to Nextdoor or Facebook and say, "Hey, I'm almost an empty nester. Is there anyone out there that would like to get together for coffee on Monday?" Because there's other people. You just have to make friends in a different way, but it's so crucial that we don't isolate during empty nesting because that also showed up a lot in my research that the mild depression was really because we were empty nesters were isolating a little bit more than normal. And especially nowadays, we don't go into the office as much, we work at home. And so it's really important to get out and have physical contact and eyesight contact with
Yeah.
people in person.
Isn't that just another one of those? COVID has proven to us how much we need community, right? How
Yes.
much we need that in
Yeah.
person.
We are
My friend
wired
was
for
just here. It's so funny because my girlfriend, my best friend from Minnesota, we're always on Marco, like multiple
yeah.
times a day. So we're living
Yeah.
each other with each other
I
through
love it.
Marco all the time. And so she gets here and we both are filming this and we're just like, I can touch you.
I
I can
know.
touch you. It's so true. And my baby and my kids are like, hey, that's the lady that's usually in your phone,
Yeah.
because it's such a weird thing, but it's such a powerful once you're in person. Yeah,
Yeah.
get online if you can. If nothing else, absolutely go there first. But the in-person things are so important and the hobbies because how much do we lose? Again, back to identity. How much do we remember about ourselves while we're like squashing it down, trying to just survive in motherhood?
Yeah.
It's like, what did you used to? My little boy says to me once, I had a brand new baby. So my first and my second. So he was 3, and then I had a newborn. We're sitting on the floor in his bedroom, and he says, Mom, what did you used to be? And I'm like,
Oh,
a cute
wow.
girl. I said that I like he's a thinker. He's an old soul, but at 3 he
Yeah.
says, "Mom, what did you used to be?" And I
Wow.
says, "A cute girl." And he wiped his nose up my leg and goes, "And now you're just a tissue."
Oh my gosh, how cute. That is
And I was
adorable.
like, "That's accurate." That's oddly accurate. I'm
To your
like, "Yeah.
point, that's
Yeah.
in my book, I call it our soul whispers. And so, like you said, I really felt like I was kind of living in the background of my own life a little bit. And I had been who was I? I was such a vibrant person. I was working at Microsoft. I was closing deals. I was connecting with people. I was thinking big. And I loved all that. And I wanted to get back to that. And so, what I call soul whispers are little nudges that you've had within you since you were a little girl of things just like you said. That's exactly what I call it in my book. It's like those soul whispers when we're moms, we know we want to do them, but we have so much else to do. It's like holding a beach ball underwater. Those soul whispers, those desires that we have are trying to get to the surface. And when we stop hiding from the busyness of being a mother, like it's like running a baton race. You have a baby and you're running, 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 running. You finally pass the baton when they go off to college or move out, and your rhythm changes. You've been running, and now even if you have a job, but if you've just been every day we have multiple files open of what's for dinner, was the laundry done, was the cat fed, da, 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 and all that kind of slows down a little bit. And so this is like the perfect time to get in touch with one of your soul whispers. And I always have people write down their top 5. And then I always say, pick one. And everyone's like, well, I don't want to pick one because then I won't be able to work on the others. But look, we haven't been working
Too
on any of them
thin.
anyway. So
Right.
if we start working on one of them, it usually has like a domino effect and it'll start knocking down those other soul whispers that we want to do. So for me, it was singing. I hadn't sung for a while. I started singing again. And by releasing that energy and that joy, I picked up on guitar finally. I've wanted to play guitar my whole life. My husband sings and plays. And so now I'm actually learning how to play guitar at 55. It's
Oh my
fantastic.
gosh. I love that so much. Oh my gosh, your energy is amazing. I love that so much. Well, to that point, I want to get back to the one thing you said earlier that I just do not want to miss. I want to really highlight that you said, what's the thing you could just talk about, talk about, talk about? And that is my
Yes.
definition of a passion. When people say,
Yes.
how do you know it's a passion? And that's how I define it is if you can go to a room and talk about it, talk about it, talk about it, talk about it, and then you leave and you're like, I could still talk about it. And you're just so
Yeah.
excited about it. You're not
That's your,
exhausted. You're not drained. You're not, that's
yeah.
your passion. You're passionate
Yeah.
about this right now. So I
Yeah.
love that you described it that way because I'm on the same page with that. The next thing I want to touch on that you're talking about is this. So this hat behind me, my friend from Minnesota actually brought it to me. And because she was making hats with her niece and she found this and it says wild and free. And I have
Nice.
explained to her that the very first time in, I don't even know how long, when I went out to her lake house in 2023, I said, I truly felt like Gina. I felt like me. I didn't
Nice.
feel like mom. I didn't feel like wife. I felt like
Yeah.
my life had aligned in a way and my mindset had aligned in a way and my values had aligned in a way that I could finally feel
Beautiful.
myself again.
Hmm.
And I've
I
talked to
love
her
that.
about that. And I even came back from that trip saying, ladies, find this, find you again, find where you can feel just connected to that person. And I'm not saying the old me. I'm not saying,
Right.
but I'm not connecting with my 20-year-old that's bar hopping.
Right.
That doesn't align with me.
Tired of
I'm
that.
not
I'm too
talking
tired.
about I'm too tired. Oh my heck, Cat and Nat just did a thing that says if you used to club, keep doing it because that is preparing you for motherhood because they are mutually basically the exact same thing.
Yep. Yep.
It's funny. Anyway,
It's
but
so good.
it was a moment that I had and I came away from it acknowledging it that it was a moment I had and I thought, how can I keep having this feeling? How can
Yeah.
I continue to make situations where this feeling is there and present and I'm mindful of it? So
And
I just
I think too,
love that.
I was working with my therapist and Deborah, she's brilliant. And I did the same thing. I was like, I would always drop everything and do, even if something was important to me and someone needed something, I would just drop it and do it.
Right?
And as moms, we're so good with filling our time, but I really want people to pause and say, am I fulfilled? Because when you
Yeah.
say yes to something you don't want to do, then you are turning down something that you should be doing for yourself, right? Or that fills you up. And so we came up with this saying like, what matters to me matters. And so I will never abandon myself again for another person because what matters to me matters.
I
Because
love
I felt like a lot of the times you're so busy, sometimes you had to put aside what mattered to you. And if I could give any advice to any mother, no matter where they're at, what stage they're at, always keep a piece of your personal identity going. Like feed that part of yourself alongside being a mother. Because like with singing and guitar, Mark has a band. He plays around town. It's like a dad band. It's really cute. They're really good. Um, but I wish I would have nurtured that desire to sing and play guitar because I could have been learning that for the last 25 years with Mark. And so I'm just starting now, but it's almost like sometimes when you're a really busy mother, I had three under the age of 5, it's almost like that light gets turned off, and you feel guilty for doing something for yourself when the opposite is exactly true. Our children need to see us thriving
it.
because it gives them permission to thrive. It raises the level of thinking and the level of their lid of what's possible when they see the mother thriving. And so that would be my advice for anyone, in motherhood is just make sure you fill up your own cup and let others fall in love with the overflow.
Yeah. I can see it now so prominently in women when they'll say things that they don't even notice they're saying or they're not mindful
Yeah.
of what they're saying and like using their children as an excuse for why they
Yes.
can't do something. And
Right.
I say back
Yeah.
to them, how would your child feel about you using them as an
Yes.
excuse to not be happy? My kids would feel
Absolutely. Yep.
horrible. Like, imagine you're on your
Yeah.
deathbed and you're like, oh, if I could only have traveled, but it was because of you, I couldn't, you know? It's
Oh,
like,
yeah. And that's the thing, we just
okay.
have to listen. If it matters to you, you'll find a way. But I just don't
Mhm.
want women to forget what matters to them. I'm like,
Right.
I'm helping women untether a little bit from their children and remember who they are because that woman is still in there with some desires and goals, probably some old ones, probably some new ones. But it's important to feed those because our children need to see that.
Yeah, 100%. How do you, I have a question on my mind, but I want to
Yeah.
ask this one first. But how do you, what are the most common fears that you see when women are approaching this season of life?
That's a good question. There's two things. I think it's the fear of the unknown and it's the fear of not being needed. I'd say those
Oh
two.
my
So,
gosh.
right.
Yeah.
So, and that's a really
Wow.
hard place for humans to live. Like when I went through cancer, I had breast cancer twice. It was like when you were waiting to get your results back, the waiting was harder than the diagnosis. It is so hard for humans not to know and wait and stepping into the unknown. So that's why I developed like a game plan and a framework in my book and journal that people can follow. And then they just start chipping away at it and taking baby steps, but it gives them like an action plan. So that way, one that removes one of the fear of just the unknown of empty nesting. And then the other one of not being needed. We will always be needed by our children, but we need to let them do things for themselves that we used to do. They need to walk into adulthood being confident in themselves, not always having to call mom and say, Mom, how did you make the coffee? Or, I mean, that's okay if they do, but we shouldn't define our happiness by how much we feel like they need us. Like one of my friends has a daughter who calls her every day from college. She's very confident but she just likes to say hi to her mom.
Yeah.
Another friend of mine has a daughter that calls maybe every other week and she loves her mom as much as the other daughter does.
Yeah.
It's just they're different things. So I think the one of feeling needed means that there's a lack and we have to find more joy in empty nesting. There's going to be both. There's going to be joy, there's going to be pain, just like in life, they coexist. But I really teach women how to lean into that joy so they already feel fulfilled. They don't feel like empty and sad and like unwanted, right? They need to, mothering is such an active verb, right? When you're
Yeah.
mothering, you're busy.
Yes.
So all that energy, all that action that you're putting into mothering, I teach women how to put that back into themselves and turn it into something that they really love to do. And so they do feel needed and fulfilled, but it might be volunteering and you're needed in society. Or one of the people who came to my book club, she started volunteering in the classroom again. So she
I
loves being
love it.
around kids and she gets that need filled. So it's really
Mhm.
important.
That's my favorite thing is to say one of the quickest ways to get outside of yourself is go
Ah,
serve someone. Go
yes,
just start there. Just start serving
100%.
someone. Go to your
Yep.
community, find out where you can be of use if that's a need you want to be fulfilled with is being needed and
Yeah.
helpful. Start there because there are plenty of places that would love a volunteer.
Absolutely. And we end the book with that. We end the book with serving and celebrating. And it's just a really neat way to wrap up the book and all the work that the moms do. This book is, it has a deliberate arc to it and it has a lot of reflection exercises in it. So you really can intentionally create your next best chapter. But it's not for the faint of heart. So I
Oh,
learned from my book club that we did it 4 Mondays in a row. Like every month I was having a book club. I learned so much from those moms that showed up. And then some of them even lived in the same city and got together and are now friends, which is great.
cool.
But yeah, so in the fall, in about 2 months, October, we'll have a 10-week, 7-week course. So we're going to go through 2 chapters at a time, and you can find out more about my course on the emptynesterclub.com. But I'm really looking for 50 women to go through every exercise in this book. And by the end of those 7 weeks, they will all have a transformation. It's so
Love
fun
it.
to witness.
I love it. You know, I'm here for it. Community work and growing together in community. And it's
Mm.
so incredible. And especially when you have people that aren't just here to support you, but they're also holding you accountable. It's like
Yes,
we are here for vulnerability, but
100%.
that does not look the same as victim mentality. Vulnerability
Absolutely.
versus, they're not the same thing. They're different, but being
And it's,
vulnerable is
yeah.
allowing to show that, yeah, you do have complaints and you do have things, but the difference is you're looking for solutions.
Hmm. Absolutely. And I think what's really neat is the women that are in the last six book clubs that I've done, the virtual ones, they get so vulnerable so fast because everyone's in the same boat. We're all in this together. And so it's so neat. Like the book and the course has the framework but we're figuring this out together. It's not like everyone comes into this book club and has all the answers. We're just following the framework that I wrote. And I even did all the exercises. And it was so helpful for me because I've only got a month and a half left before I'm an empty nester. But I know this time around, this will be my third time dropping off a kid at college. I know I will be more prepared, and we already have this wonderful trip planned up the East Coast. We're going to go see all the fall leaves, and it's just
Yay.
going to be fantastic. I'm super excited, but of course I'm going to miss her, but I also just have a lot to look forward to.
Right. I mean, it's just like you're not you still have those good memories. You still have those amazing things. You still have, which is why we're for people my age trying to say, hold on to these, be
Yes.
present, enjoy this, because then I hopefully if you're more present and enjoying these moments, it won't be so jarring when those doors
Yeah.
close. Because it is, I'm telling you, my last baby is a girl. I have three boys and my last baby's a girl. And so
Yeah.
I got to get rid of all the boy stuff, which I was more than happy to do.
Yeah.
Go, get out, get out, get out. But handing off her stuff now, all of her little cute little outfits, like
Um,
especially coming up to
I
Alaska.
know.
This is the last, everything that I left at my house, she will never touch again. It will never be out again. It will never be seen again. It won't, you know what
No,
I mean? I mean,
I
there's so
do.
many doors closing on me right now that I'm hyper aware of that
Yeah.
I feel blessed that I'm allowing myself to be way more present with those moments.
I love it.
Because
I have the funniest story. I was in Costco yesterday, and this empty nesting thing hits you at the weirdest times. You think all of a sudden you'll just be walking out, and I walked by all the little Costco summer dresses, like the tiny little cute, and I started crying. And the lady next to me is
oh,
like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "I am. I just have my last daughter leaving for college." And she's like, "I have a year." We were like bonding in
we're like
Costco over.
hugging each other in
I
Costco.
know. But I'm like, I never get to buy those dresses again. But and then I just paused and I'm like, I just took a minute to think about, like, I used to have matching Easter outfits for them. And I just took a minute to envision them. Oh, it's going to make me cry. But I also like, it's so wonderful having adult daughters that you can hang out with. It is like the
Yeah,
greatest gift I've ever been given it's my biggest honor to be a mom.
right.
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing. But God, those dresses got me good yesterday.
My boys are so sweet. They're so sweet. One of our friends in San Diego made fun of me actually because I brought them down and we had all of them. I got them all trunks with flamingos on them, and then I got her the cutest little
Love it.
flamingo outfit. And they love it because they love her. And he's like,
That's
they don't need to be matching. And I'm like, they're gonna be. This is what's happening.
super
I
cute.
have a question about, I'm sure this conversation comes up, is what do you do about the husbands? What do you
Mhm.
do about these women who, instead of, I mean, they've been taking care of this husband the whole time too, right? This isn't just
Yeah,
exclusive to children. This is the husband. And now they have this one person that they could totally put all of this energy that was once spread between four people, now focused on this one person. And
yeah,
so I'm thinking of my mom, bless her little heart, and she will be out trying to shop or something, and she'll call and say, or he'll call and say, what's for lunch or something. And she'll like rush home to go make him lunch and stuff. And I'm just like,
mhm.
boundaries,
So
boundaries.
I think that one thing is we've been talking about, my team and I have been talking about putting together a companion guide because we want to title it like "Be forewarned, your spouse is going to have a transformation," or this course
Right.
causes miracles or something.
Right.
But really because the mom is going to be changing and especially when they do like the 7-week course, and so they do need to prepare their partner and also enroll them in it. And it's a good thing. Like you're going to get some of your wife back that's been so busy running around and, putting so much into others that, it's a good time to renegotiate those boundaries and what they want together in their empty nest. Like maybe the mom has been putting a lot of time into children, but now she wants to put some more time in herself. So she might be like, hey, honey, I might not be making dinner every night. Just
Yeah.
you might have to get your dinner or whatever it looks for you. But for
Well, and
me, it's
working
like,
on the foundation of letting that be an okay thing.
yeah,
Because here, what
exactly.
are
So,
you 40 years of that not being an okay thing? It's going
right,
to be like
exactly.
shocking.
Yeah, it can be shocking and it can be a beautiful thing because I think when the mom is really lit up from within, it helps marriages, partnerships, it helps you be a better mom, all the things. So what I did is I noticed we always prioritized our trips around our kids and what they wanted. And, we'd always go visit like the grandparents. And I said, Mark, I want to start doing some things that, like you said, you wrote down a trip that you wanted to do when you don't have
Yeah.
kids. That's what I'm really leaning into is what part of the world do I want to see that I can now see because I'm free? So it's a
Yeah.
really neat thing to do. So we have our empty nest travel list on our phones, and we're knocking off a big one. We're actually renting a motorhome. We're dropping off our daughter in Atlanta for college. She's going to Savannah College of Art and Design, studying animation like my middle daughter, but she's going to the
Amazing.
Atlanta campus. And then my oldest daughter just moved to New York City, so we're gonna go to Atlanta, Savannah, visit our friend in DC, up to New York, and from New York, we're going all up through the East Coast, like Connecticut, Maine, Vermont when it's fall season. And I've
Yeah.
always wanted to do that. So we're going to spend 2.5 weeks up there. I'm so excited.
Amazing. If you get it in your bonnet, don't stop there. Go towards like Michigan.
Yeah,
Michigan,
I've never.
insane. Yes, like Wisconsin, Michigan. It's incredible. We did
That's what I've
3-month
heard.
road trip that way around the US. We started in Utah, went down to Texas, and all the way around the basically like
Love it.
coasts, I guess, whatever, and all the
Yeah.
way up around and then back down. And then we just did 3 months again, hitting all of the like flyover states and that kind of thing. So we just checked off all 50, but you're gonna love it. You're gonna love
I love it. I'm so excited. I can't wait.
it. I think that's so fun. Oh my gosh. So talk to me about this course you have coming up. Let's talk about this because
Mhm.
I'm in my head, I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, how can I team up with her and like make this something that we're doing too?
Yeah,
Because
absolutely.
it
So,
really truly what you're talking about with the almost empty nest strategy, it is exactly what I'm talking about for women in our, I mean, this is technically kind of, I don't like to define midlife as an age. I
yeah,
like
me
to
neither.
define midlife as a change in
Yeah, it's
season, a
an
change in
awakening.
direction, a change in, because
Mhm.
I've had it happen a couple times in the last
Mhm.
6, 7 years, whatever. I mean, back in 2010, 11, recession hit. I mean, that was like upheaval of everything. We could have been in midlife then, and I was only 25. So, or whatever I was. I don't know. We're not throwing out numbers here. But, but what you're doing is so so cool for it's the same thing. So I love that we're talking about that. Where was the question? It came in the beginning. Sorry, my mom brain took me off.
Oh, no, that's okay. So you asked me to talk a little bit about how the course is divided up. So the
Yes, yes,
book
yes.
is, yeah, it's 21 chapters, my favorite number. The first 7 chapters are all about the past, and we have, like I said, we have the mom look back at the past. She writes a highlight reel for herself. We get a highlight reel from our kids. That's my favorite chapter, chapter 4. And then we kind of look at some limiting beliefs if we have any around empty nesting and clear those. So then the middle section's all about the present, right? After going through that, I wanted to psychologically get women in an elevated mental state and look back at all the good stuff before they assessed where they are in the present and then define their future. So the middle 7 is all about asking yourself like those 10 C's. What could you converse about? What are you
Love those.
committed to? All that. And then from there, we pick your one thing. And then we also talk about the brain science in this section a little bit because when you pick your one thing and you start to put yourself out there a little bit, your inner critic is going to fire. And that's just your brain trying to keep you safe because your brain doesn't like change. So
Yeah.
we really teach the reader how to silence that inner critic and listen to their inner compass. And then in the last section, it's called the future. We define their game plan, what they look like in one year. And I pick one year for a reason because There's a lot of science and psychology behind that the brain can handle, like, okay, I can do this for a year, or what do I want my life to look like in a year? You don't want to define the next 10 or
Right.
15.
Too
It's just
big
too much.
gets to be too daunting.
Yeah. And so what we do is we pick a year, we define everything that that woman's life looks like, and then we have that vision pull her forward towards it versus us trying to run forward and create something. That vision is pulling her forward. And scientifically, that shows that people will stick with it more because they believe it's possible. So in those
Mhm.
10 weeks, in the first 2 weeks, we do introductions, or the first week we do introductions. Then the next 2 weeks, we work on the first section. Next 2 weeks, we do the middle. Next 2 weeks, we do the final, and then we wrap it up. And so in 7 weeks, they can have probably one of the best defined game plans for their empty nest and like action plans, how to get there. We talk about
Right.
the science when you start to do something new, that rhythm feels different. Like when your kids move out, your daily rhythm changes. We teach you how to stick with that. And so, really, they're going to walk away with something very tangible and something that they're super excited to go do.
It's interesting because I call that being the CEO of your life. So it's kind of like remembering, okay, if I am the CEO, even if I'm a stay-at-home mom, you have to be the
Mhm.
CEO. You have to run your home like a CEO. You have to have a to-do list. You have to have a planner. I like to do mine on Sunday and call it my week in review. And it's
Yeah.
like, if you don't write these things down, you will
Hmm.
wander aimlessly in TJ Maxx.
Yeah,
You will,
absolutely.
because you
Right.
don't have a game plan. And I'm not saying like you're talking about, I'm not saying, and maybe tell me what you think about this. Maybe because I don't think busy is
A,
I-
a badge.
what's the word? Yeah, busy isn't a badge, but it's like not productive. Busy doesn't
Right.
equal productive. How many women do you hear that's like, "Oh, I got to do this and I got to do this and I got to go here and I got to take this and then I got to drop this off." And they're like proud of it. They're like that's how they get their worth. They're showing their worth and I'm like, "I feel exhausted listening to you." But to some point, tell me your opinion on this. Maybe that might be a good thing for people coming into empty nest all of a sudden to at least keep them moving forward. Keep them.
Well, I think,
What do you
yeah,
think about that?
I hear what you're saying. Yeah. So I think a lot of that comes from what society expects us to be, what to do, what to wear.
Yeah.
And again, that's the
Put our
power in the
kids in
pod.
these things, all the
Yeah.
things.
And I think you have to look at your busyness because is your busyness really filling you up? And so there's a
Yeah.
chapter I call Clear the Canvas where we look at your whole life like it's a puzzle. And when your kids are home, it's like making meals, doing laundry. There's a lot of big puzzle pieces. But as they start to leave, those start to either get smaller or completely drop off of your puzzle. Then you have all this open space. So then you need to look at what is still on your canvas and say, am I happy with this? What do I want to add in? What do I want to take out? And so we talk about this and it's called your toolbox. Like we all have a toolbox. And when you hit empty nesting, I want everyone to go buy a brand new, shiny toolbox, not a real one. But and then we take out the tools that don't work for you anymore. Like I always compromise. I don't speak up for myself. All those tools need to go because then you'll find that even if this rhythm is a little bit slower, it's more fulfilling than the empty busyness and running around. People get addicted to that chemical. It's like a rush for them to be busy, or those people who are always late. That's actually a chemical that they're addicted to when they're late. Their cortisol releases in their body and it becomes their normal. And so, what I try to do, you're not going to be able to hide behind your busyness anymore. I mean, you just really are, you're going to be less busy when your kids move out, even if you have a lot of other things to do.
Yeah.
But my thing is to take a pause and really question, like, out of all those things that keep me busy, which ones are fulfilling me instead of
Yeah.
just filling my time?
Right. Which are energizing, life giving
Yeah.
instead of life sucking.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Some of
that's
them
how
just
I
gotta
define
go.
it. Does this give me life? Does this suck
Yeah,
my life out of me?
yeah, absolutely.
Um,
And if it does, you
oh,
don't want to do it, it's a hard no for me now. I don't even
well,
question it. I don't get
oh, I
stressed
don't
or
either.
about saying,
I don't
yeah, I just
either.
says no.
You
Yeah.
know, I'm wondering, tell me what you think if what would be some good first steps in preparing, say, like, for example, being able to be comfortable being alone with yourself.
Hmm.
and starting to trust yourself. It's kind of like the foundation of self-love, because we
Absolutely.
throw self-love around like it's like do affirmations and blah 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 blah, which I'm not taking away from. Those things are good things, but they're not. It's like any relationship, you have to build that trust with yourself first. You have to really, it's like you're dating yourself, right?
Yeah.
So, ooh, you could have a chapter on that. You could have a chapter on dating yourself.
Absolutely. Well, and I think
But being
too, that's,
okay to doing things by yourself, like starting now. So, what would be something that you would say, or that you have said to women, start doing these things now, because
yeah.
this will lay the foundation for
Well, I write about that in
next?
my book. So I think, with empty nesting kind of like sneaking up on a lot of people, a good time to do this is when your kids start driving, because that's when they are
Oh,
starting to untether from you a little bit.
independence.
Right. So, I mean, I spent 22 years driving kids around and I thought I would not miss it. And I do because I loved being in the
Mm,
car and hearing all about school and friends and all that kind of stuff. But it gave me a lot more time. Like when my daughter was driving to school this year and did theater, she was gone 10 hours a day. And so
right.
I had to really get intentional and write down what I was going to do with my time. Now, luckily, I was, you know, doing interviews, finishing up my journal for the book. I had things that I was working on, but I started filling in working out and classes more. That was really fulfilling to me. Lunch with friends, just some things that had fallen off the radar. I had to really go out and intentionally add those puzzle pieces back into my life. And I also agree with you. I think being alone, like I like to put on my earbuds and listen to a podcast while I do laundry. And
Right.
I actually really enjoy it now. And that's me
Yeah.
being myself. I like to get up early before everyone else does and have coffee and look at my website or work on my website. And I just love that alone time. I'm like an agrovert, I think they call it, or an ambivert. I like to be super social, but then I also need my alone time. But for
Right.
people who haven't been alone, it's hard. I'm not gonna lie, it wasn't easy when all of a sudden, I mean, when my two kids were off to college and my youngest was driving, I was alone because I didn't work. I had a little part-time job that I was dabbling in, but I had a lot of alone time, and that's when I really was focusing on my book. And it was exactly when one of my biggest soul whispers came to life. I've always wanted to be an author. I write songs, I'm a lyricist, but I took the time to pause and I literally just woke up one morning and wrote down the list and just started. You just have to start.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. You have to start. You have to commit. You have to prioritize to the things that are absolutely going to fill your cup. You have to make it a non-negotiable. For me, I put things in my day that are written in red, and those
Yeah,
are my non-negotiables. And I schedule them like I would one of my kids' doctor's appointments. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
super smart.
Because
Yeah.
it's a non-negotiable. I have a couple more questions I want to ask you, but I'm wondering if I should have my son bring my baby. I can hear her just screaming at him. She's
Oh,
not she's not sad, she's mad at him. She's tired and she's mad at him, and he's 13 going,
whatever you need to do, I'm good.
hang on, she stopped, so he got her to stop. This is my life. This is my life.
Yeah.
What are some of the really coolest things that you've seen women create in the moments when you're having them listen to those whispers? Like what are some that you're just like, huh? Because yours sounds amazing. Singing, music, guitar, incredible, right? For me, it's
Yeah.
going to be travel. It's going to be, I mean, I don't know what else, but what are some that you've heard to other women and you're like, that's cool?
It ranges from I have two stories that just popped into my mind. So one of the gals, Stacy, that was in my virtual book club, we go through this whole process. They really intentionally were thinking about what's the one thing that I want to do. And it doesn't have to be something big like start a business or, you know,
No.
all that stuff. And she said, you know what? My one thing is going to be me. And I hadn't even thought of that. She said, I'm going to be the one thing. And so now she's going out and doing line dancing with people that she doesn't know. And she's made all
She's
these new
dating
friends
herself.
dating herself. Absolutely. She had gotten divorced. She got divorced
Oh,
like a
even
week before we did our
better.
book club. Yeah, it was a big deal. And then her son
Oh,
had moved out. So she got divorced and her son moved out all within a week. And so this book club landed perfectly. And the universe does
wow.
amazing things. This was my first book club. There was another mom on there that just got divorced and her son had gone off to college. So now those two connect and are connected and went line dancing together because they happen to live
Oh
in
my
Salt Lake,
gosh.
or one was Park City, one was Salt Lake. But
Right.
anyway, that was a neat story. And then the others, I'm so proud of her. My heart was like so happy for her that her. It was all about her. She said, I haven't had it all about me in so long, and it feels so good. Um,
Hmm.
Not in a selfish way. And then the other
No.
one, this other lady, Sue, her and her husband love to travel, just like you. And they started an empty nest travel business called Sphera Travel, Sphera, Sphera.
Oh, like the
And
sphere.
they now take empty nesters all over the world with their company. And they
I
turned
gotta
it into
look
a
it
business
up.
and their love for travel. So I thought that was fantastic.
We totally need to get with them. I should have you
Yeah.
send me their information because my husband actually just started his company that, I mean, we're not empty nesters, but the whole point, we've had these conversations of, because we retired 10 years ago. And so we
Okay.
have conversations of when we're done traveling, which we made a commitment that when my son turns 15, we will come home and be more traditional for a little while he and the
Yeah.
next one go through high school. And but so he's like, so what am I going to do? Blah, 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 you know. And so
Yeah.
he created a company called M42 Adventures that is basically getting people outside, getting people to do
Love it.
adventures, like hiking, biking, UTVing, horseback riding. He just does a hunting trip in Hawaii once a year. He's done the Alaska fishing, Costa Rica surfing, all the
Wow.
things, right? And
Yeah.
same thing. He just really has this passion for sharing travel and
Yes.
getting people to enjoy life outside of the screens. And it's
Absolutely.
family. It's for families. It's not just for men or women, it's for
Oh, I
families.
love
But
that. I love that.
so for women listening today, the woman listening that feels stuck in survival mode or on autopilot, what are the first steps she can take today in defining what her next chapter is going to look like?
I think the first step would just honestly, like what I've been saying, is just take a pause and just sit down with a piece of paper or a journal and just start writing. You'd be surprised what comes out. Your subconscious already knows how to get you unstuck and what you want to do. And just start writing or challenge yourself to just make a list of 5 or 10 things. And whatever bubbles to the top, that's what you could start on. And it's really easy. We break down the science of why, humans start and stop. There's a lot of brain science around that. But we teach the reader how to get started and not self-sabotage themselves. Like once they read that chapter, they will never stop and start again, or at least they'll know
Yeah.
why they're doing it and they'll be able to get out of that habit loop really quickly and back into action. But I think just taking that minute to say, okay, if I didn't have any time or any money or any constraints, now I know that's unrealistic, but I just want them from a higher level of consciousness, not from any limiting belief. Create the list from your best possible life. Like, what have you always wanted to do? And I think that's where you just pick one and start it. But I teach them how to do that in the book. So I would definitely have them join our community. So
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
definitely would do. Yeah.
Come on and do it. Join the community. Join Carla's community, join the Revitalized Sisterhood community, whatever, wherever you're at in life, we're talking about these
Yes.
things. And I think that's incredible. And I am actually, we'll get off recording here. And anybody listening from the Revitalized Sisterhood is going to be like, oh, this is the book we're doing this month. Okay. So it's coming. It's coming.
Well,
Just
and
you wait.
I wanted to offer your readers something. I don't know how where you would post this, but I'd love to give one of your readers a book and a journal, an assigned book. So I'd
Oh,
love to
I would
do that
love
for your
that. Thank
listeners.
you. Oh, yeah, we'll do a
Yeah.
giveaway. We'll figure out a way to do a. I always put challenges in, like,
Yeah.
especially in the summer months, we have a bingo card that's because we have 4 core categories where we do goal setting and stuff, and it's beliefs, bonds, body biz. And then I always have them do bingo cards because this
Oh, I
summer,
love it.
every summer we've like lifted our foot off the gas a little bit, but this
Yeah.
summer I was like, absolutely not. We're doing the opposite. Last month was your next bold move, and this month is self-awareness. I was gonna see, have you
Oh, I
read The
love it.
Untethered Soul?
Yeah, that's my
Oh,
book. Yeah,
yeah.
it's not most of
Yes.
mine, but
Yeah, but that's
it's
the book. So that's our book this month. And so that's,
so
you're
good.
talking about your little companion in your head, and I'm like, uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. Perfect timing. I love it.
So I love it. Thank you so much. I'm so glad we finally got to make this happen.
Me
I'm
too.
really enjoyed this conversation, and I can't wait to work more with you going forward. So thank you for your time,
Absolutely.
Carla.
Yeah, we'll have to figure out that out. That would be a great collaboration for sure.
I would love it. Thank you so much.
Okay, thanks, Gina. I'll talk to you later.